Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Well, from Ken Sim's gym to Justin Trudeau's unpopularity to tonight's Trump-Biden debate face-off, is there too much focus on politicians' personalities? Is it a mere distraction, or does it tell you more about their leadership? That's coming up first. And music fans, pack up those beach chairs, strap on those Birkenstocks. It is festival season, so is there an event on your summer bucket list? CBC's Grant Lawrence will join us to take your calls. I'm Michelle Elliott. Welcome to BC Today. And thanks for joining us on radio, TV, and live stream. You can call us now. Is there too much focus on politicians' personalities? Do you think it's a distraction, or does it matter? Does it tell you about their leadership? You can call us 604-669-3733, 1-800-825-5950, or hit pound 690. You can email bctoday@cbc.ca. Well, people are really worked up about Ken Sim's workouts.
Brought some equipment in here, and we're utilizing it to exercise.
The Vancouver mayor is defending his decision to convert a boardroom at City Hall to a personal gym, although he says others can use it as well. He hopped up on his exercise bike yesterday during a tour with reporters. Opposition councillors are questioning his priorities and whether it's an appropriate look for a mayor. Online, one resident said, "We need a mayor working for his citizens, not working out." You might say it's part and parcel of Sim's personal image and personalities. And speaking of big personalities, all eyes tonight on the U.S. presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And so we are asking you, is there too much focus on politicians' personalities, or does it matter? Is it a distraction, or does it tell you more about their leadership? You can call us now, 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, or hit pound 690 by email. We're bctoday@cbc.ca. My guest is Gerald Beyer, Associate Professor at UBC's Political Science Department. Hi, Jerry. Good to speak with you.
Good afternoon, Michelle.
What went through your mind when you heard about this controversy over the gym that Ken Sim set up in the City Hall boardroom? Is it a tempest in a teapot?
I mean, a little bit. There's certainly a case to be made that someone like a mayor is busy and is sacrificing some of his own personal time, capacity to do things like stay fit. But perhaps the way that he went about it in terms of taking a room that I guess councillors had kind of counted on as a place to meet with folks, from the community or interests that have business before City Hall, and sort of randomly taking it over and designated it for himself, it sort of hit the wrong note. At the same time, there is a certain degree of government and opposition going on in Vancouver City Council, and so this was kind of an easy mark to maybe get a little bit of press attention against the mayor for maybe being a little bit imperious or interested in his own benefits rather than in opening City Hall up to the public.
Yes, well, it is definitely making hay on social media and on media. The province cover today is Ken Sim, who gladly went on the Peloton as he spoke to reporters yesterday, and the headline is "On the Job Training." It's a gift to pun lovers. But Councillor Pete Fry yesterday posted this: the deeply unserious and absolute absurdity of a civic asset being repurposed as Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa House belies a very real problem with process, transparency, and good governance that we continue to get stonewalled on. And so is it some kind of insight into bigger issues? What our municipal affairs reporter, Chad Pawson, said yesterday, he's done nothing actually wrong here. I mean, as he explained, he used his personal funds to buy that equipment. It is open to others if they'd like to use it. But it was that question of it's a City Hall boardroom, that civic space that is being used, that's, he's filled up with his own equipment. So that was the question. But is it more indicative of that bigger picture around transparency?
I mean, I think there's been versions of this through the past too. Big spending on office furniture
Mm.
sometimes happens. I think actually with Vancouver City Hall was a case where an intrepid reporter just saw the truck pull up with all kinds of fancy new chairs in it and questioned where that money was coming from and who's benefiting from it. You know, that's part of the dangers of local politics as well. For your neighbors are the people you're representing and helping to make decisions for, and they're intensely interested in what's going on. There isn't that distance that maybe exists in provincial and certainly in federal politics in Canada. So that's a little bit of it. I think the mayor may have stepped in it a little bit himself. He's offering to be transparent and showing, then jumps on the bike. It just invites all those kinds of comparisons you said. And I had missed the fact that he's named Ken, and that it gave him an opportunity for the donuts, which was of course a reference to the Barbie movie and
Yes.
Ken masculine or man cave. So I think all these things kind of add up in some way. Worries about the way mayors work in terms of their power is actually fairly limited in civic politics in BC, but they are the sort of focus of attention, and they can particularly with our party system in the Vancouver and across the province in many ways, able to sort of direct the direction of council a little bit, but they don't have one vote like everybody else.
Right, but he does have a majority on his
Right.
party has a
Yeah.
majority on council for sure. Now we'll talk about Ken Sim more, I'm sure, but tonight as well. It's a big day. It's a big night for U.S. politics with Donald Trump and Joe Biden taking the stage in that first presidential debate hosted by CNN. And when it comes to public image, personalities, theirs are very deeply embedded, right, in public perception. How will that affect U.S. The upcoming U.S. election? Do you think? Is it pretty much set? Can anything still change based on what people know and believe about each of these presumed candidates?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I think everyone has a pretty good opinion, one way or the other, or pretty not a necessarily a good opinion, but a pretty set opinion about whether they like Joe Biden or whether they like Donald Trump. As to say, American voters who have the chance to make this decision. I think there are still kind of lingering questions around either of them, both related to age and capacity. And again, that's part of what they have been kind of foreshadowing in terms of what the debate will feature. And so, both sides in some ways are hoping to prove that the other candidate is past his prime and not really able to take on the super important job of president of the United States, in which one's personal issues, personal values, personality makes a lot of difference toward the direction that the country will take in some ways. And so, here is a case where personality matters a lot,
Yeah.
and it's a very personal vote. You're picking one person, not a government, not a legislature. You're just choosing who that is going to inhabit that role of the executive and make all kinds of decisions that are super consequential for the country.
Yeah. Well, we are asking our audience to weigh in on this. We've been talking about Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim this week as well, that the unpopularity of Justin Trudeau is being blamed for that stinging loss in the by-election at Toronto St. Paul. So we're asking you, does a politician's personality matter to you? Is there too much focus on it, or does it tell you more about their leadership? So you can give us a call, 604-669-3733, 1-800-825-5950. And Peter is calling us from White Rock. Hi, Peter.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. What do you think?
Well, I think on the one hand, it's pretty obvious that a politician's policies matter usually more than his or her personality. On the other hand, looking south of the border, I think it's not a stretch to say that Trump is a psychopath and that his policies match that. The way he cut literally trillions of dollars of taxes on the rich, didn't help out working people, has sabotaged environmental law. It's just so disheartening to see that half the population there thinks he's a good choice.
And we're going to stay away from name calling here, but when it
Right.
comes to the policies, there are people who, the appeal, the attraction was that he was the person who represented people who were not being represented by the, as he called it, the elite.
Well, that was just propaganda because he does represent the elite. I mean, he's a billionaire, at least he was. Who knows situation now. But again, if you look at his actual policies, he only helps the rich. He's done nothing, to raise it. Like the U.S. minimum wage, I believe, is still like $7.15 an hour. He did nothing to that. That would help people. He's done nothing to help people of color. He's done nothing to help women, obviously. It's like he only cares about himself and his wealthy backers. And if you look at his policies, that's what you see.
Peter, thank you very much. So indicative of policy or not, right? Because although being presented as I'm the one for you, policies that don't necessarily represent people on the ground, the working poor, and various demographics as well. Peter, thank you very much for the call. All right, so there's the contrast, the comparison there, personality versus policy. I suppose, can voters, focus on the right thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is they're definitely intertwined, and I think people, are going to use their preferred proxy. I think you could say,
Proxy is a good word, yeah.
With Bill Clinton in his time in office, that he had a lot of personal failings that became more evident the longer he was in office, including his affair with Monica Lewinsky. But people were also able to look at his policies and say, all things considered, the kind of direction that people wanted, and were willing to forgive some of those personal foibles. So I think there are times, but there were all the other parts of his personality that were obviously quite magnetic, but also sympathetic and empathetic, that made people like Bill Clinton as a politician, and continue to like Bill Clinton as a politician, even in his retirement. So I think sometimes that can happen. When things are systematic, I guess, in terms of some of people's values or the things they put value on. And Donald Trump, was a kind of stock character of the greedy businessman in some way. And that was kind of what he ran on, that's what the country needed, and that's what he offered. And he hasn't really veered from that too much. And so your caller's right to say that's sort of, it's puzzling to a lot of us where the appeal is there, but that is part of his appeal.
Thanks so much for the call again. And let's head now from White Rock to Kamloops. And Tim is calling us. Hi, Tim. Do politicians' personalities matter?
Well, I don't think one can help but think about it. I think your guest said it's a combination of both. But as I was saying to your screener, what I think is really going to be interesting in the Canadian connection, in the sense that as we saw the by-election this week, which the Liberals lost. Now, Trudeau doesn't have to call an election, I believe, until October of 25. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is obviously going to wait until after November to see the results of what happens down there. If Trump does get in, I wonder if that's even going to embolden Trudeau more to stay. And if Biden gets in, well, it could be come see, come saw. But yeah, personalities are inevitable to talk about. I mean, you look at somebody like Pierre Poilievre, and you got to compliment that guy. He's one of the best corporate gatekeepers this country has ever seen. They got that guy bent down, where. So here's the thing.
No, let's not go down that road as well, Tim. But thank you very much. Let's talk about Pierre Poilievre, who underwent an image change about a year ago as well. There's a lot of talk about how he changed his wardrobe and just presented in a different way. And, he makes a lot of use of social media as well. What has that done for him? And we've seen the polls, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tried and true feature of leadership politics. People worry about the color of the ties, color of the suit. Remember,
whether you're wearing glasses or
Barack
not.
Obama having a tan-colored suit one time, and then the sort of internet went crazy. But certainly with Poilievre, it's glasses, more T-shirts rather than more formal wear. Although he still dresses for the occasion in the House of Commons. Remember the 1993 federal election? I called it the denim dress shirt election. Every leader picked a kind of chambray dress shirt that looked a little bit working class, a little bit dressy. They could still throw a blazer over it. It was kind of a signal that people were on everyone's side. And so a lot of that has been a true feature of kind of politicians' uniform, right? A navy suit and in a men's case, or a pantsuit in women's case, and so on. Some people break those rules and do so in ways that again highlight their image and personality. That it's something you can read into someone, but certainly, that is as part of the sort of signals that people want to send to each other, and Mr. Polly has been pretty successful at making some of that change, particularly with the glasses, I think, and some of the softer edges that he's put around himself.
Let me ask you, Jerry, about some of the comments that we've heard from our callers. Have things become more personal, not just in how we relate to each of the various leaders, but also in how people describe them or use derisive terms to describe them? Has that gotten worse as people are more, I guess, are more perceptive, are giving more to their perceptions of a personal image and personality? Does that lend itself to using or, just throwing around more derisive terms and being, personally insulting?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always been a feature of it. There's always been a degree of ad hominem attacks and personal attacks, even in debates. In terms of "you had a choice, sir" was a famous line from the 1984
Right,
federal.
sure.
It was very pointed at John Turner, but there is a kind of coarseness, I guess. I think is kind of what you're getting at.
The
is
language has
entered
changed, yeah.
Politics, certainly, and willingness. I imagine the CBC caller of 1975 might have been less apt to go to certain kinds of metaphors than people are ready to do now, in terms of describing folks, and that's been a bit of coarseness in the rhetoric in politics. There's still sort of rules about what you can say in the House of Commons to try to keep decorum, always pushing the boundaries.
We've seen that, yeah.
On all sides, and then criticizing the speaker for being partisan or something. So, even that as a sort of last vestige of some civilized debate, I think is maybe in danger. But certainly, I think that comes with a bit of polarization as well, right? There is, not a dehumanizing, but almost dehumanizing of your opponent.
The dehumanizing of your opponent. Okay, I'm just...
John Horgan's feeling better.
Okay, Jerry, we're just having some technical issues with you. I think you just mentioned about something about John Horgan, who was just diagnosed with cancer again this week, or the news broke this week. But we'll go back to that comment with Jerry. We'll try to fix that technical issue there. My apologies for that. Let's go to Bhupinder in Surrey. Hi, Bhupinder.
Hello, sorry. What is your name, miss?
My name is Michelle. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for giving me airtime. Yeah, with respect to Trump, I mean, I hope he doesn't come. I don't think he will come in power. Okay, with respect to Justin, he has not lived up to his last name, and I'm living almost like 45 years here, although I'm born and raised in India. But ever since, this liberal and this, with the help of NDP, they came in power. 9 years now, he has taken the country down the drain. I hope my message goes to both the NDP and this Liberal Party. So especially, hello?
Mm-hmm. Yes, go ahead, Bhupinder.
Yeah, especially with respect to, the crime, all over the crime, the port at the Montreal, the seaport, then international students, and then asylum seekers. I mean, I don't understand what is the desperation to bring so many people all of a sudden. Why they should encourage people who are here, Canadians, give them a chance to marry. The children should be born here, and they should be raised here. There's a big difference between a person born here and raised here. Although I came as an immigrant, you need to bring some sort of people from other countries, but not at such a large scale.
Bhupinder, that's a conversation that we've been had as well, or that we've had as well. And so your thoughts are that Trudeau has, it's been 9 years and it's just been a disappointment when it comes to those policies. So you're looking at the policies.
Yeah. The policies, the two policies I mentioned, three actually, crime, the international students, asylum seekers. I'm a 67-year-old man, I'm retired.
Okay.
And it bothers me around the clock, and I'm hoping, even though conservatives are in the opposition, but they know when these politicians, they make any law, they know what the party in power is doing. So the blame also goes to all the parties. Thank you.
Bhupinder, thank you so much. Good to have you from Surrey. Let's wrap up on Trudeau. And the big news this week, right, out of Toronto, St. Paul's, and this by-election that the Liberals lost in a riding that had been a Liberal stronghold. Questions around Justin Trudeau. Will he stay? And his unpopularity is being linked to that loss. What do you think? Can he redeem himself in the 15 months leading up to the election? What might you see as the next step for him here? Can he redeem himself?
We often talk about by-elections as a kind of referendum on the government of the day, and some of it's more a referendum on Justin Trudeau, who has been the face of the government. And that's kind of a risk that parties take as well when you probably remember 2015 and later, Trudeau team or Team Trudeau, that sort of stuff. You focus the success of a party around its leader. And then, when the tide churns, you're sort of stuck with the leader as well. I do think, I noticed that Poilievre sort of didn't get too involved in that by-election. Let it be about Trudeau rather than him. He won't have that luxury in a general election, right? And so to the extent that there are criticisms of Poilievre that folks have in the country, whether, it's some of the policies he's advocated in the past when he was a cabinet minister in the Harper government, or, his kind of coziness with some elements of the right and some would say far right, that stuff will be fair game because he's a leader too, and he's asking to be prime minister. In fact, when he was running for the leader of the opposition, he was asking to be prime minister. So I think that will feature in the equation, and Trudeau's kind of counting on that. That it's going to be about him versus him, as opposed to the discontent with the current government.
Public image for all of these politicians we have talked about. All eyes on them for sure. Gerald, thank you so much as always. Good to have you.
My pleasure, Michelle. Thanks.
Gerald Byer, Associate Professor at UBC's Political Science Department. It's 12:27 Pacific Time. And yes, this week we got a lot of comments on the email on our question, should Justin Trudeau step down as Liberal leader before the next election? As you know, the political rumblings have been growing after that by-election. Joseph writes, he also doesn't listen to what people want. This is Trudeau. Canada has the best and cleanest technologies to extract natural resources, and we need a government who supports these industries. We are a superpower. It can't be led by a, quote, snowflake. Jeffrey writes from Denman Island, few are talking about the NDP. For a party which holds the balance of power, their poor result is more worrisome than any by-election normally would be. Given the next election will very likely produce a Conservative minority, parliamentary alliances are vitally important in weighing down Poilievre from the flights of hyperbole which he spouts instead of cogent policy. Mayor Dad writes, I just don't understand how a person like PM Trudeau, with several scandals during his time, expects to have another chance. Aga Khan, SNC Lavalin, We Charity, foreign interference, and the list goes on and on. Anne writes, I'm very disappointed with the by-election result. The Conservatives have not said what gets cut when they cut taxes. Pharmacotherapy, dental care, daycare, pensions. When they cut the carbon tax, what plans do they have to address the climate crisis? And Marjorie writes, the whole thing of left versus right or too much or too little taxation is a red herring. The issues are crucial. Any government that's been in power for 9 years, even the Conservatives and before them the Progressive Conservatives, have accumulated too much power and a skewed sense of abilities. Thank you so much for all of your emails. Our address again is bctoday@cbc.ca. Thanks for joining us here on BC Today. We're live on Radio 1 across the province, also on CBC Television and live streaming as well. You can use the CBC News app or watch us on YouTube. And coming up in our next half hour, CBC's Grant Lawrence will be with me. We're going to take your calls about the music festivals that you're looking forward to, the ones that are on your summer bucket list, and tell us about your favorite music festival memories. That's coming up after this CBC News update. And here's Robert Zimmerman.
Good afternoon. BC Hydro is now offering homeowners up to $10,000 for installing rooftop solar systems. Businesses are eligible for up to $150,000. Hydro says the program will make it easier for people and businesses to generate their own electricity, reduce their power bills, and deliver clean energy back to the grid. The federal government says it's increasing the number of people who qualify for the government dental program. The program now includes children under 18 as well as people who get a disability tax credit. Officials say it's a quick and easy process to apply. More than 3,000 children have been signed up in the few hours since the program went online. And 2 people are dead and others are in hospital after a vehicle went the wrong way on the Upper Levels Highway in West Vancouver. Police believe the vehicle traveling eastbound in the westbound lanes near Westport Road caused the collision. The highway has now reopened. And now the forecast on the north coast. Cloudy this afternoon with a high of 14. Highs reaching 21 with rain in sections of the Peace. In the central interior, including Prince George, a high of 18 with rain and a risk of thunderstorms. Highs to 19 degrees with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the Kootenays. In the southern interior, including Kelowna, mainly cloudy with a high of 21. And mainly cloudy in Greater Victoria as well. A chance of showers this afternoon in Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley with highs around 19. That's your CBC News update from Vancouver.
Thanks so much, Rob. That's Robert Zimmerman in the CBC Vancouver newsroom. Welcome back. This is BC Today. Thanks so much for joining us, and a happy last day of school to elementary students in the most districts around BC. I know high school students were out last week. They have a few more days, or they had a few more days this week, but it is the end of school, and hello to summer vacation. Are your kids sleeping in more? Mine are, that's for sure. Teachers, I'm sure, are as well, looking forward to it. And it was so lovely to hear all of the emails and texts this morning to our morning show here in Vancouver, the early edition. And they were taking all of these lovely greetings to their favorite teachers from around the region. And it was just so nice. I was thinking about my favorite teacher. Miss Vlasic was her name. When I arrived here, grade 7, 12 years old, new to the country. She was just so kind and lovely, and she asked us to write a journal every day just about what our thoughts were and what we went through and how our day was. And she read all of them and wrote a long response and a long reply to all of them. And I told her about a whole bunch of things. What my family was up to, what someone said to me in class. So thank you, Ms. Vlasic, for your patience. I still have that journal, by the way. You can let us know, too, who's your favorite teacher? What's your favorite teacher experience? You can email us, bctoday@cbc.ca. We have a caller already. Yes, mid-June, we're heading into, well, end of June actually, heading into music festival season. And this weekend, so there's a lot, right? This weekend, the Lake Down Showdown kicks off at Cowichan Lake. Huge lineup. Gwen Stefani, Busta Rhymes headline. Also Fantastic Alberni. Headliners Aaron Pritchett, Best of Both Worlds. And then there's the Smithers Midsummer Music Festival, the Atlin Arts and Music Festival, Shambhala at the end of July in Salmo. Oh my gosh, it is a packed calendar. We want to hear from you. Is there a music festival on your summer bucket list? So tell us about that, what you're looking forward to, and tell us about your favorite music festival experience. Is there a memory you'd like to share? You can call us 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. You can hit pound 690 or email us, bctoday@cbc.ca. And I'm joined by someone who knows a little bit about music festivals on stage and off, the CBC's music host Grant Lawrence is with me. What a treat. Hello.
Hello, Michelle. Great to be here.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. I said earlier, music fans strap on those Birkenstocks. You not necessarily Birkenstocks, but those are very appropriate.
Got my natives on.
Yeah, those are
Rude to
very
put
cool.
on the counter, but I
Yeah.
also have for viewers.
Oh, beautiful.
I have my Vancouver Folk Music Festival shirt
Iconic.
from a few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, since I thought I'd get into wardrobe
Yeah.
for the subject matter.
Yes. In fact, is that T-shirt somewhere in the wardrobe room? I'd love to borrow that sometime.
Sure, I could leave it behind. You might want to wash it.
Yeah. Well, things can happen at festivals, so
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
get sweaty.
Yeah.
Get sweaty. Grant, so do you know how many music festivals you've been to?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
could
can-
never count. I mean, I've been to music festivals. Luckily, I've been lucky enough to go to music festivals all over the world. And back, I mean, geez, my first music festival was probably in Stanley Park.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s or 80s. And back then, I was having this conversation yesterday with some friends. Back then, at Vancouver summer events, it would always be weather like this.
Yeah.
It would
Oh,
always
yeah.
it would always rain at the outdoor music events. And it's only been in the last couple of decades where it's been much more dependable on sunshine.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, it rained the first month of Expo, and it used to rain a lot more than it does. So it's kind of nice to see the cloudy skies right now.
Yeah, so yeah, it was like a time for boots and mud.
Yes,
a lot more
yes.
mud. And so, do you have a favorite memory?
Oh, you know, I worked at the Vancouver Folk Music Festival for many years. I was the MC on the main stage, and that's a lot of fun. And you often go up to the artists before they go on, no matter who it is. It could be Steve Earle, or it could be Katie Lang, and you chat with them. You say, "Is there anything you want me to say before we go on?"
Yeah.
And I remember one of my favorite memories is there's bands from all over the world that play at these festivals, artists from everywhere. And there was a band from Africa, from a landlocked country. And sometimes seeing these bands that have come in from somewhere way on the other side of the world, and they get to the Vancouver Folk Music Festival site, which is Jericho Beach.
Yeah.
One of the most, I mean, we take it for granted.
Yeah, I know.
But it is one
really.
of the most and their jaws drop. They go from the airport to the festival site, and they're on Jericho Beach. They're looking at the mountains. They're saying, "What is this water?" I said, "That's the Pacific Ocean."
That's our everyday view.
And so I remember this band from Africa. They saw people swimming, of course, that we're so lucky to do here on our coast. And they asked me, "Can we do it?" They've never been in the ocean before.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they went in there, and they were like kids playing in those light waves that roll in on Jericho Beach. And then, you know, after a while, I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go, you know, introduce the new pornographers or something. You gotta come with me. I can't, I'm like your chaperon. I can't
Exactly.
leave you
I'm
in the ocean.
responsible for you.
Yeah, so come on, guys, let's go. So that's one of my favorite memories. Is just the when other people see our environment
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah.
Especially musicians.
I love that
they can't believe it.
It's true. You know, I was able to do some hosting at the Surrey Fusion Festival last year. It was so much fun getting to know the musicians, and
Yeah.
I'm really curious. You know, is there energy? Is there adrenaline just rushing after a festival? Like, what do you do?
Oh, for sure. It's almost like a mini summer camp for 4 days where you almost have withdrawal when it's over. I mean, you mentioned Surrey. They have I think they have the largest Canada Day celebration in Western Canada. And they have a huge lineup headlined by the Sheepdogs this year.
Oh, nice.
So that's happening out in Surrey. But yeah, and that's a one-day thing, of course, because of Canada Day. But it's an amazing thing when these festivals go off, and they're very valuable culturally to us right across the country, right across the province. And so we value them, and we hang on to them, and they're threatened by everything. They're threatened by the economy, forest fires, you name it. Of course, the pandemic was a huge
absolutely.
hit for a lot of them.
Let's take a call here. We are asking you, is there a summer music festival that is on your summer 2024 bucket list? It is a jam-packed calendar this year. And let us know, too, if you have a memory that sticks out for you. Love to hear your stories. 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. If you didn't recognize his voice already, I'm joined by Grant Lawrence, CBC music host. And Basil is here from Vancouver. Hi, Basil. Thanks for calling.
Well, thank you. Yes. Hi, Grant.
Hi, Basil.
I really like your classical music that CBC puts on every afternoon till 3 o'clock.
Oh, I'm
And
glad.
that's what I'm talking about right now. It's not really, what do you call them? You had a name for them. I'm
Folk?
sorry, for these big events.
Oh, festival. Yeah, sure.
Festival,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, but still, yeah. Go ahead.
It's not really a festival, but it's an evening of delightful,
Love it.
classical, inspiring music out. Doesn't quite compete with Jericho Beach, but it's pretty close. At Sunset Beach,
Yeah.
where you're looking across. You can sit on the bank, but you need foam because otherwise you slide down the bank. And you can see boats passing by. You can see kayaks, and then you cross the way. You can see barred on the beach tents.
Yes,
And
and I know what you're describing. It's that it's like a natural amphitheater on Sunset Beach.
Exactly.
That grassy hill. The Pride Festival occurs there too, and it's spectacular. They don't call it Sunset Beach for nothing. It is absolutely beautiful when the water narrows there to go under the Burrard Street Bridge. And I think, what you're hitting on, Basil, is it doesn't really matter if it's a huge festival or it's just about experiencing music outside in this season.
With other people. And
Yes.
it's interesting you mentioned the VSO at a park as well, because out in Burnaby, they have been doing these events at Deer Lake, which is the same thing. It's kind of its own little amphitheater.
Yes.
It is one of my favorite summer experiences going, because I go and I know all the parents who show up, and then the food trucks.
Vampire Weekend was just there
Yes.
last weekend, I guess. and everyone was raving about it. Everyone was
It's a great
raving.
venue. And absolutely, that the natural setting. I know you were talking about the tents at Barton the Beach. That's another one people look forward to. And yes, the view is just, you sit in that tent and you look out onto the beach. It's just stunning, and you sort of have to shake your head in disbelief.
And those types of views exist at music festivals all over BC. I mean, there's the Salmon Arm Roots and Blues Festival in the heart of the Shuswap, and they were affected by the forest fires last year. I think they had to pull out sadly after one night.
Yeah.
They've moved up to July 26th, 28th. It's the 32nd annual, and they're coming back in a big way. They have Sarah McLaughlin, Amanda Marshall, and also a huge, fantastic lineup. So happy to see that the Salmon Arm Roots and Blues have survived for another year, and we wish them all the best.
Yeah.
With
and
no smoke.
Good weather.
Yes.
Absolutely. This year, starting 1 month earlier. Great to hear that. Love to hear from you too. Let us know what you're looking forward to. 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. What is a summer music event that you are looking forward to? We're talking about festivals, but yes, as we heard from Basil, something like the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra performing at the beach is also something to be excited about. So we just want to hear what music event you're looking forward to. Give us a call. Linda is on the line in Nelson. Hi, Linda.
Hi there.
Hi, Linda.
Thanks for taking my call. Hi. I am actually very lucky. I have tickets for, get this, the Outlaw Music Festival featuring Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Robert Plant, and John Mellencamp.
Whoa, where is this occurring?
I'm going in Spokane, Washington.
Spokane. Oh, so you're just driving down, crossing the border.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a heck of a lineup.
Willie's not feeling good this week. He missed a couple of shows, so pray for Willie at 91.
Yeah, well, I guess the marijuana is working out for old Willie Nelson.
Oh,
Eh?
my God. And is this a bucket listing for you?
I would say I have seen Willie before, and I have not seen Bob Dylan, and I've not seen Robert Plant. Those would be my bucket list. But just the fact that so many talented artists are this close to me. I mean, I take every opportunity I can. When they get this close, I reach out and go meet them.
So, Linda, it's the Outlaw Music Festival. How are you getting down there? What mode of transportation? Are you on a chopper, a motorcycle?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not just your regular truck.
Oh, okay. Oh, a truck. Right on.
But is there like paraphernalia on the truck? Is it decorated to just, shout out
Well,
loud?
not yet. This is happening in August, so
Okay.
I still have time.
There you go.
Okay. Well,
I don't know. I guess if
have a great time.
You'll work on it.
It's beautiful down there too, at the edge of
and
the.
it's an outdoor music festival
Yeah.
with kind of thing. So it's going to be a blast.
Oh, Linda, have a great time. And just a word on Willie Nelson, who, yes, did have to cancel some performances. He is expected to make a quick recovery and join the Outlaw Music Festival tour next week. So fingers crossed. There you go.
Incredible. 91.
Yeah.
Still going, still a legend. Okay, Linda, have a great time. Enjoy. Let's head to Duncan, and Jack is calling us. Hi, Jack.
Hello.
Hi, Jack.
Good to talk to you.
Good to have you.
About those other festivals, the Outlaw Music Festival and the Vancouver Folk Festival.
Yeah.
I'm calling from Duncan because I'm the artistic director of the Islands Folk Festival.
Yes.
And we have our 40th festival this year.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. And we're actually sharing, we're partnering with the Vancouver Folk Music Festival to have an artist called Mel Parsons, who's from New Zealand. And she is just an amazing artist, and she's well worth looking into. And she's going to be at our festival on July 19th.
So you guys do you guys do the festivals on the same weekend so you can share artists, right?
Well, that's how it's working out this year. It's not. It was to a scheduling error that we are on the same weekend, but because our festival actually started as is supposed to be one weekend after the Vancouver Folk Festival, because it originally started for some artists that were hanging out at Vancouver and came 40 years ago after the Vancouver Folk Festival came and hung out here, and that was the first Islands Folk Festival in 1984.
Wow. Gee, well, I guess it's working out well because you're getting some great artists on both festivals.
Yes, we have James Keelan coming, who's a Canadian folk song legend, and Valdi.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking at the website.
He's coming with a band. He called me the other day. It was the most coolest thing to get a call from Valdi.
Yeah.
He was like, "You want me to play all the hits and bring the band, right?" I was like, yeah.
Short answer, yes.
Yes, Mr. Valdi.
Yeah, after you check the budget though, right?
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
That's why he was calling to say that he was making sure, because we paid him well this year because we want to have a really special 40th anniversary night.
Oh, Jack, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been involved with the Island
I've
Festival?
just been involved this year. This is my first year as artistic director, and I actually it was my first folk festival I ever went to when I was 15.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow, that must be what an experience for you. And how are you all doing? You know, as Grant was saying earlier, music festivals have had challenges, right? Whether it's funding, financing, as we've seen with Vancouver Folk Festival,
or landing a headliner,
organizing, inflation, climate change. You know, how are you doing? What's this been like?
Well, it's just been we're in a rebuilding phase after COVID, and after some things happened that brought us to maybe a bit of a retreat in our presence in the community. We're really making a comeback this year, and so we're feeling really good, and we have an absolutely great venue here, and it's family friendly is the main thing here, because this is Providence Farm is a therapeutic community throughout the year, so it's really set up to be supportive to people.
That's great.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah. All the best to you.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And have a great time while you're at it, too. That's Jack in Duncan, who is the artistic director of the Island Folk Festival, celebrating 40 years this year. Fantastic. Grant, what are you thinking hearing this enthusiasm?
Well, I think it's fantastic. I mean, and we can't take it for granted. And one of the things that makes these festivals work is that people show up and take part. And so we almost lost the Vancouver Folk Festival a few years ago. We really do need people to, if they're on the fence, to get out there and try it. And maybe you've never been to a music festival before, but they're happening every weekend. There's 8 weekends of the summer, and they're happening every single weekend of the summer all over the province, from the Rockies to the Pacific. And you really need to just take one in and take those side stages and discover some new artists, see the big headliners. You can bring the family. Most are very, very family friendly.
And I mean, you've got kids.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they have grown up running around the side stages of the, and sometimes backstage at these festivals. And, one of our favorites is the Philbrook Festival in Comox. Yeah. That happens on the BC Day Long weekend. And it's incredibly family friendly and a beautiful setting surrounded by water. You can often see orcas in the bay. I mean, it's unbelievable. So What I would say to make this all work is people showing up, British Columbians getting out there and taking in these festivals.
And hey, guess what? There's always good food too.
Yes, there is. And it's getting better and better.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Kelly wrote us, I'm thrilled that the Milk Carton Kids will be headlining the Vancouver Island Music Festival this year in the Comox Valley. It's going to be a great weekend at the exhibition grounds in Courtenay, July 13th, that weekend. Kelly, thank you very much. Have a great time. Our numbers again, 604-669-3733, 1-800-825-5950. Catherine is up next now in Vancouver. Hi, Catherine.
There.
Hi, what's a festival or event you're looking forward to?
Well, first of all, I am looking forward to Shambhala because I have tickets for Shambhala.
Ooh.
But honestly, my all-time favorite are buskers, the street festival, night markets, the street festivals like the one in Quetzalano and Commercial Street. Those are my favorite.
Love
and
those.
Even the afternoon, the lunch hour music that is played at plazas all across BC.
That's so true.
Small local musicians. Those are my favorite. And not only that, if I hear small local musicians like at night markets or plaza festival, not festivals, but lunch hour, I will look them up on Bandcamp and usually buy their music.
Fantastic.
That's good. And of course, all the events you mentioned, Catherine, they're free as well.
That's right.
Oops, and they usually have good food trucks, or you can buy something from the local restaurant and take it and sit and have your lunch either purchased or your sack lunch.
That sounds like a perfect afternoon to me, Catherine. It really does.
Yeah, thank you. Quetzalano Festival coming up this weekend, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no. I'm getting confused. I'm getting ahead of myself. This weekend's the long weekend. Quetzalano Festival, July 5th, 6th weekend. I think it's the same night the Rolling Stones are in town.
Wow.
In Vancouver.
All right. Well, there you go.
So that's where they shut down 4th Avenue and they have a whole bunch of bands playing. And
it's fantastic.
Hundreds of thousands of people are out on the street and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yes. July the 6th.
That's it.
Right.
July
you don't
6th.
have Rolling
That's it.
Stones
Thank you.
tickets?
No, do you?
No.
No. I think the Stones are the 5th and Quetzalano is the 6th.
There you go. I am going to see Missy Elliott next week. And I am so thrilled and excited about that.
My daughter wants to see Olivia Rodrigo in August.
Sure.
The tickets are out of sight.
I was going to say count her among so many people.
Music festivals, much more affordable.
There you go. There's another bid for music festivals. Paul is up now in Surrey with another shout out to a local festival. Hi, Paul.
Oh, good afternoon, Michelle and Grant.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah,
hi there. Just a quick shout out to a festival nearby called the Mission Folk Festival.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been going a long time.
They have a wonderful lineup usually that comes from Vancouver in many cases that is played the week before at the festival. So you get a pretty decent lineup at half the price. And you get a wonderful view looking over Mission and onto Mount Baker to go with it.
Oh, my goodness.
So can't go wrong. A very low-key festival that the musicians themselves in many cases say it's one of their favorites.
Yes.
Because of the vibe that goes on there.
And that's important. That's
very
important.
laid back and they can chill out and just nobody bothers them, et cetera, et cetera. So a
Love
great
it.
place to go.
Yeah, that's at the end of July. The Mission Folk Fest.
After Vancouver.
Yeah, and Devin Cuddy is playing, Jim's son.
Wow, yes.
Yeah, as
Ooh,
well.
He's great.
Yeah, and Jackson Hollow and Graham Lindsay, Cobo Town, lots of great artists. Catherine McClellan from PEI, who is Gene McClellan's daughter.
Oh, my goodness.
Gene McClellan,
This is the
who
next
wrote
generation.
Snowbird.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so lots of pedigree there.
Yeah, if you're not, that's a great pedigree. If you're not being a snowbird yourself,
Yeah.
go see Mission Folk Music Festival. Grant, I have like 20 seconds. What's your biggest tip for people?
Besides getting tickets early, I would say bring a hat and
that's a good one.
bring a jacket for the cooler nights. And I hope to see, I'm going to be going to the Caslow Jazz Festival for the first time up in the Kootenays, which is August 2 to 4 with Bahamas and the Rumor Mill and Shred Kelly and John and Roy. So yeah, I'll be bringing my blanket, my Mexican blanket and my hat and my sunscreen and some of my favorite snacks.
Your favorite beverages and snacks.
Yeah. Yeah. And just my advice is to just be cool and be happy and have fun and, no attitude, nothing like that. Just roll with it. It's summertime.
Just roll with it. It's summertime. That's going to be my mantra this year.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Grant.
Thank you, Michelle. Happy summer.
Happy summer to you, Grant Lawrence, CBC Music host.